long as all the resolutions at our last meeting.
I don't know what you did, but you shut my camera off.
Trevor actually helped to prepare this resolution, thank you
No problem.
for that. And this resolution relates to the work for the rezoning and putting forth the public hearing to stay on schedule and task. So, Rick, I would ask that you would read Resolution 16-191, setting a public hearing to review the proposed amendments for the town zoning ordinance.
Whereas at its regular scheduled work session on August 8, 2016, the Town of Plattsburgh Board did discuss and consider the merits and benefits of rezoning a portion of the former Clinton County Airport from zoning ordinance sub-district AD-SU to ADP zoning map amendment. And whereas the appropriate geographic area of the proposed zoning amendment is shown on the map entitled Proposed Zoning Map Amendment 2016, former Clinton County Airport. Whereas pursuant to Article 8, Section 17, Section 17.3, all proposed amendments originating by the petition or a motion shall be referred to the Town of Plattsburgh Planning Board for report and recommendation thereof. And whereas the Town Board herein adopted Resolution 16-176 at its regular session meeting held August 15, 2016, and pursuant to the zoning ordinance Article 17.3, referred the petition to the Planning Board of the Town of Plattsburgh for the report and recommendations in accordance with said section. Whereas the Town Planning Board at the regular meeting on August 16, 2016, did receive and place on file said petition and establish the working group of 4 Planning Board members to work with the planning staff to discuss the draft report and findings for further consideration of the Planning Board at the September 20th, 2016 monthly meeting. Whereas the Planning Board, after review and consideration of said maps, draft reports prepared by the staff in Resolution 16-63, did find the same to accurately reflect the opinion of the Planning Board and accepted the recommendations as the final finding and recommendations of the Planning Board as resolved to transmit the report findings and the minute meetings to the Town Board. Whereas the Town Board is now in receipt of the Planning Board Resolution number 16-73, minutes and report of the Planning Board, adopted at the meeting and held on September 20th, 2016. Whereas after review and discussion of the proposed draft map amendments, the Town Board desires to distribute the proposed draft 2016 map attached of the town zoning map as described in the Town Board Resolution 16-167 to the appropriate agencies in accordance with Article 17, Section 17.3 and 17.4 of the town zoning ordinance and Sections 264 and 265 of New York State Town Law as follows. 1. Town Planning Board. 2. Clinton County Planning Board. 3. Town of Schuyler Falls and adjacent municipality bordering within 500 feet of the affected area of the proposed amendment. Whereas New York State law and the town zoning ordinance require that the public hearing on the proposed amendment be held to consider the availability of the amendment of the Town of Plattsburgh zoning ordinance. Whereas Part 617 of the Environmental Conservation Law, New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, Section 8-0113, seeker herein, provides for the review of any action to determine the effect of said action on the environment, along with any related administrative procedures and implementation authorizations to approve said action. Whereas Part 617.4b, Section 2 of the seeker provides that the adoption of the changes in allowable use within the zoning district affects 25 or more acres, mandates the proposed amendments of said zoning ordinance as a Type 1 action, which requires specific acts by the Town of Plattsburgh prior to the adoption or rejection of said proposal and amendment. Whereas determination of said effects on the action of the environment will be necessary to determine whether a draft environmental impact statement is required. Whereas the Town of Plattsburgh Board was identified as an involved agency in accordance with the seeker for the purpose of assessing the effect of the zoning ordinance amendment on the environment and whether or not said effect is significant enough to warrant preparation of a draft environmental impact statement. And whereas the town board has made a determination that they intend to act as a lead agency, and there are no others involved agency in the seeker for the purpose of amendments to the zoning ordinance and the map have been prepared and required long environmental assessment form. Whereas the town board, Town of Plattsburgh, as a project sponsor, is required to review and use the EAF to determination of the significance of the proposal amendments. Now therefore be resolved, the town board does hereby declare itself as a lead agency for the revisions and amendment of the zoning ordinance map, and does hereby determine the proposed project as a type 1 action, and considered review under the seeker will be not conducted. And there are no other involved agencies, and further resolved that pursuant to Article 17, Section 17.4 of the Town Zoning Ordinance, Section 264 and 265, New York State Town Law, the town clerk shall transmit a full statement of proposed amendment of the map to the Clinton County Planning Board prior to October 5th, 2016, Clinton County Planning Board meeting deadline. And be further resolved that the town board shall hold a public hearing in relation to the proposed amendment zoning ordinance at the Town Hall, 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, on October 11, 2016 at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And it be further resolved that pursuant to the provisions of Article 17, Section 17.4 of the Town Zoning Ordinance, the town clerk shall cause notice of the time and place of said public hearing to be published in the Press Republican, a paper of general circulation in the town of Plattsburgh, at least once on or before September 29, 2016, with such notice being posted at the town hall and be given necessary adjoining municipalities and the Clinton County Planning Board, and such agencies as party as required by the law. And it be further resolved that said public notice and a copy of full statement of the proposed map amendment shall be posted on the town's website. And be further resolved that a copy of this resolution and attachments be given to the town clerk, planning board, zoning departments, and Clinton County Planning Board.
Thank you.
Amen.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Mannix, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I think that in this particular instance, there was 600 acres approximately. Before it was about 152 acres that were zoned for business technology, or that was what we wanted to try to get in there, and this just about doubles it with a few more acres.
Yeah, you know, really, if you were to look at the map as it currently stands, I remind people that there were two kind of separated, you know, sections of that property, and we're really continuing the zoning across that swath of land, for lack of better terms. Also, the manner in which we're going about these with the dates, you'll be reminded, it should be in your packet as well, the Airport Development District zoning map amendment timeline. I didn't even have a whole resolution, I couldn't read it. And there's a bunch of different dates that were plotted out from the beginning. So we're just staying on that date. It's to make sure that we hit the other locations, to share it with the county, etc. So we'll have a public hearing on October 11th.
Yeah, I appreciate the amendment timeline. It gives a nice chronology of what's happening, what's next. So the deadline for the county planning board submittal is today, actually, right? But
Yeah,
we're gonna get
they traditionally
cooperation.
have worked with the county. If there's gonna be some type of board action, that they
Okay.
will send it first thing in the morning.
Okay,
And a lot of times they'll file the topic,
okay.
so that they'll know that there's a topic on it.
Yep, appreciate that.
So without further discussion, roll call. Rick.
Tom Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Barb Beaver,
Yes.
Mike Kavler.
Yes, this resolution does carry, and again, I do appreciate the council's consideration of this as we continue to move forward, and we will have that public hearing. Just kind of collect some stuff here. The next thing that will be in your packet is draft minutes. We then have the tentative budget to be filed for 2017. That'll be coming out later on this week. And then going into resolution and adoption of the Lake Champlain Saranac River waterfront plan. And I would encourage anybody that has questions about that particular item and or the lead agent seeker to speak with Trevor or Phil. Okay? I'll give you some additional information. I just have to put it back up here. Then we have typically an annual request as it relates to North Country Honor Flight. Here is a draft resolution and, sorry,
Lifeline?
That was a
thank
late
you.
flight.
Yeah.
North Country Life Flight. A lot of fun. Okay, and then there is their letter. This is something that we've been supporting for a number of years. I think it has a lot of value.
And that price hasn't changed.
In 10 years, yep.
Yeah.
So, that is there for your consideration. Following that item, there is a letter from JCEO and a proposal for requested amount. We have over the last couple of years, I just wanted to note that we have been staying pretty flat. We have not been making the allocation for the amount that they have been requesting in full for a number of reasons for our budget, so.
But I do think that, after that many years, and it's been steady for as long as I can remember. I mean, this is a vital program, and even if we don't increase it as much as they ask, I think it should be increased.
Are you proposing a certain amount?
Well, I was thinking of $20,000.
Are you talking JCEO or?
JCEO.
JCEO.
It's a federal program for the poor people in the community.
Tom, I'm gonna take a look at some things in the budget, and obviously I don't have the final say, but if I think we can make some allocations around, I'll rework this, and certainly on the floor next week, if people feel that if we weren't able to make that allocation, someone could amend it on the floor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, obviously I'd like to see our budget before, but we're not gonna be able to do that, so.
Yeah.
So
But that's kind of where I'm coming at from that standpoint. The next items, you will have a series of resolutions and a letter from Paul Wright, Assistant Superintendent for Water, outlining 3 recommended, promotions. And I know that Scott, and I believe Paul as well, has had a conversation with the water committee on these particular items as well.
Can we go back to JCEO for a moment?
Yep.
Do we ever have, this community outreach director come give a sort of presentation so that we understand exactly where the funds are going and what we're doing?
Since I've been a board member, not that I can recall.
He has come in the past.
He has?
Yeah.
I can certainly see if that's something, if we can get somebody to come in.
You're talking about JCO director or the director of the community outreach?
The community
Yeah,
outreach
outreach.
director.
Yes, it's Sally.
The person who's utilizing these funds. I mean, it's outlined here, but if there is some sort of data that could back up what the funds are being used for and how they're helping.
And I think it plays into even though it's a nominal increase, be careful, but it helps us understand in terms of the increase in the contribution. We're
Just
redoing
in terms
it.
of the contribution in general,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me see what we can do.
thank you.
And you might wanna go back, see when it was last changed, because I don't think it was changed for quite a few years.
Okay.
Right, it's been requested, but we haven't.
You know, I recall, and, you know, later in the evening after a long day, you know, I think I believe the last 2 years it's been flat, at least.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, okay, let me look into that, at the very least, we'll try to do some conferencing with her.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions as it relates to the recommendations from Paul? Meg or Marty, do you wanna say anything about those particular items?
I would just like to say that when we have the resolution, I would like to have a person's name in instead of their nickname. I'd like to see Matthew, since that's the person that we're doing, and then this is a legal document.
And,
I mean, it says Matt, and I mean, everybody here knows what it is, but I think it should be Matthew. It is in the title, but it's not in the resolution.
You mean down below where it says Matt Revenue?
Yeah, that's what it's referred to straight through.
Well, do you see that as any different if the top was Michael Cashman and then I went by Mike?
No, I think Michael would be good, yeah. I don't see any difference, I mean, somebody else might.
and the promotions, Marty, Meg, they're in the step progression of each of these titles, obviously, and budgeted for this year and next year.
And the only reason I bring that up, Tom, is I wouldn't go by Mike.
I know,
So, but he may go by Matt,
and that's true,
so,
and that's okay, but legal document, supposed to have your,
alright. That's all the official business before us, but I would make a motion that we, go into executive session for proposed pending or current litigation with UPS. I would make the motion. Is there somebody that would second it?
I'll second that.
We will go in at 7:40. I do not anticipate taking any actions. Thank you.
so, should we sign stuff now?
Jim's still earning his keep, huh?
Alright.
You're still earning your keep,
What's up?
huh?
I guess.
I would say, are you looking to chat with me at all?
Whether you want to or not.
Okay.